Episode 43, Winded City Countdown. I'm Scott Stern, along with Ben Russo and Matt Yurick. And I don't know about you guys, but saying number 43, I'm like sitting there going, holy cow, we are almost halfway to 100.
Almost.
And dogs don't lay eggs. And I learned something today.
There you go.
There you go. So yeah, here we are, episode 43. Should we do something big for number 50?
I'll go streak the quad.
Yeah. Maybe the Bears will give episode 50 to us with like either a massive dumpster fire or like a 2-game surprise win streak, and we'll be like, holy cow, let's dedicate episode 50 to the best 2-game winning streaks of all time.
Yeah. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
I feel like the Bears are a prime candidate for a top 10 list of the best starts by teams that ended in an absolute tailspin. I feel like the Bears have some real potential to start the year like 3-1. Everyone's like, "Ooh, don't sleep on the Bears," and then it's just going to be like, "Nope, probably should have just slept on them because they are bad." But that's not what we're here to talk about tonight. We are here to talk about the biggest lies, cheats, and hoaxes in sports in recent history, and this is all because of one Ryan Lochte, which I'm gonna go ahead and recommend that if you haven't had a chance to watch Last Week Tonight ever, on Sunday, they did a whole thing on just clips of Ryan Lochte being
an idiot.
He is. He's just really not smart. And they did like, what was the one more clip? It was him holding up like a Rolex, and what does he say, Matt?
Yeah.
And that's all it is. Like it's just him holding up a Rolex, going like that, and it's not good. So
he's an interesting person. I don't know if interesting's the right word, but he's something. But we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. So these are people or teams or countries that have lied, that have been involved in a hoax, have been cheated. They've cheated us out of something. It kind of runs the gamut, and it's really, really funny. And Ben peed his pants while, really, like Ben got it all over this list for us. And I'm going to let Ben start with number 10 because number 10, I didn't have it high, but it is my favorite on the list.
Yeah, it's just I think the reason it's not higher is, and you'll see why, is imagine if this was like, I don't even know like how to like a comparable you can give for like Major League Baseball or like the NFL, but so number 10 is the 2000 Spanish Paralympic team. Now, you might wonder why we're talking about the 2000 Spanish Paralympic team. Well, it turns out, I believe this was either the first or second year that these teams could compete. So it was the Paralympic Games, and what they did was it was a basketball tournament, much like the regular basketball Olympic Games, but it's for intellectually disabled people. You have to have an IQ of 70 or below in order to qualify to participate for your team's country. Well, apparently, they did not get that memo. The Spaniards...
oh, no, I think they got the memo, Ben. They got the memo, and they put it in Michael Scott's special filing cabinet.
So the Spaniards decided not to test anybody. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, now mind you, I'm not an expert on this one, I believe an undercover news reporter was one of the members of the team.
Yes.
Who, after competing and after winning the gold medal, came out and said, hey, we never tested anybody. We did not have, I believe, officially they're saying 10 of 12 did not meet the criteria, meaning they had an IQ of 70 plus. I'm guessing they were close to just whatever the normal average is. So needless to say, Spain got that gold medal stripped. I just think it's absolutely hilarious the lengths that these people go. And the reason behind it was they wanted to win medals and gain more sponsorship. So Spain decided to cheat the Paralympic Games out of just all honesty and integrity. And then it was also reported that the same guy reported that the table tennis, track and field, and swimming events
Yep.
were also part of the scam that they ran on the 2000 Paralympic Games.
So I have a couple of things here to go with this. Number one, I have to imagine this is the inspiration for the movie The Ringer with Johnny Knoxville. Maybe not directly, but like it's got to be up there. Number two, and really my only other point is, I didn't really know there were a lot of sponsorship dollars to be had with Paralympic athletes.
Right. That was my reasoning when I saw that quote. I'm like, what the hell? Like, how did he even like? I don't even understand. Yeah, it was crazy.
I love that because this was something I didn't remember, and in my research, and like right now I'm looking at this article from whatever year this was. I think it was 2013. This article came out, and they show a picture of all the Paralympians with their gold medals. Some of them, a vast majority of them, looking like ones would look if they were a bit mentally challenged. But then underneath it is a picture of the same team celebrating after a win, and they do not look like people who would be considered mentally disabled.
Matt, could you share that link on the side of the chat box for me? I really want to see this picture.
Yeah, I saw the picture, and I'm just like, I mean, like, I don't want to say anything that's like going to get us in trouble or anything, but like, you like when you see him, like you just kind of look and you go, okay, like there's.
Yeah, but
something's
it's
slow
clear. It looks in this gold medal winning photo. It clearly looks like people are trying to look that way, in comparison to the picture below it, of them celebrating after a win. I don't know. It just it makes this thing even more like disgusting.
Yeah.
When you know that people are doing this only for sponsorship, which again, that's something I didn't realize was prevalent, and the fact that they get a gold medal. Like, how do you even like tell people you won a gold medal for that? If people know that you have full mental, your full mental faculties to you.
I wish I would have researched it more because I would have really loved to have seen like how much they went over. You know what I mean? Like if their IQ was like 72, I'd be like, this story's a little less funny, and it's like, okay, well this guy like barely didn't qualify. But like if they were using people, with like 100, 110, I don't even know what the hell a good IQ is, to be honest with you. So, but
yeah, I don't even know.
That's just like I just. Can you just the idea? It's just like, okay, we're all gonna pretend we're really slow, and we're just gonna like this is like teachers versus fifth graders in basketball.
Yeah, who does that remind you of?
Nothing like that at all. It's not like that even one bit, and you know it.
Dude, totally stuffed this kid. I went 2 for 4, and
it was awesome. We got a real game tomorrow. We're playing the police department for a fundraiser. So. We'll see how we do. All right, let's move on to number 9 because I like to envision Matt doing number 9, which is Kevin Hart, 2008 high school football recruit, hosts a press conference to announce commitment to schools who never offered him a scholarship. Like, I just like to think of Matt sitting at a table at Streeter High School, and he's got like a bunch of hats out, and like everybody's just kind of looking at him like,
"What are you doing?
He didn't play."
Like, I have like a Florida State hat in front of me, LSU.
This
Alabama.
is what this was. Like, this kid sat in his gym, and he had a Cal hat, and I believe it was Oregon.
Yeah.
Were the two that he was deciding between. And Washington Post, ESPN, Sports Illustrated all picked this story up. And I think ESPN even played the video, if I'm not mistaken, of him, like, in his gym with, like, all the people putting the hat on. And then, like, within, like, a few hours, like, all the big major recruiting sites are like, we're not hearing this. And then, like, Cal's like, not only did we not offer him a scholarship, we never even tried to recruit him. Like, this guy, he didn't get recruited by any Division I school.
He did sign with a D2 school.
Coastal Carolina.
Well, this one said, this here on ESPN said he was going to sign with Missouri Western State.
All
He
right.
may have changed his mind. I don't know.
He had another press conference with their hats out.
Missouri Western's
then-
like,
And then they're like, no, we didn't talk to him.
son of a bitch, guys, come on.
So
I-
I'm going to take this a little bit off to the left. Is the tradition of like the recruit doing, and I'm gonna do it for you guys on the camera here, where the recruit like goes and he puts the hat on and he's like, no, and he like grabs the other hat and puts that. Like,
Well, the guy from Illinois, or that spurned Illinois last year in
Illinois,
basketball,
yeah.
was like the first guy that started. I don't remember what his name was, but like he like, I don't know if he like almost had the hat on or had the hat on and then put it back and took. I don't remember who. I don't remember it, but yeah, that whole thing is dumb. And now like Bleacher Report and like all these other ones are running like the like full on videos of these guys like signing. Like it's just gotten too much. This whole.
So real quick, this Kevin Hart, nicknamed himself in high school D1.
you know, I'm gonna tell you what. Anybody that nicknames themselves, you cannot trust them.
Yeah, but this is what I love. His quote as to why he chose Cal.
I really wanted to play.
He said Coach Tedford, Jeff Tedford,
Who
and I
recruited him?
and yeah, this is great. Coach Tedford and I talked a lot, and the fact that the head coach did most of the recruiting of me kind of gave me a real personal experience with that coach, and we had like a really good relationship. End quote. He later said this is what I love too. He said like why he did it. He's like, because I had a 1.8 grade point average and I thought it was of no use to take the SAT, those schools stopped recruiting me. Yeah.
But like, and then like his reasoning, he goes, I wanted to play Division I ball more than anything. Well, yeah, man. Like this is too. You can't just like what did he think was gonna happen? Like he was gonna like show
magically,
up. Yeah. He was just gonna show up to Cal and be like, "No, you remember I had the press conference and everything, and you signed me."
Like, oh,
and
yeah,
be like,
we forgot.
The press conference. Oh man, like that's it. We didn't offer you, but you had a press conference. I guess you're in. Oh my goodness.
As a parent, can you imagine if this was like your child that did this? Like, just like
I
the
would be
sheer
like,
and
are you
utter
fucking kidding me?
utter disappointment. Because like, what if they didn't know, and like your son comes home and he's like, "Hey, Dad, I just got offered a full ride scholarship to play football at Cal," and you're like, "Oh my fucking God, this is awesome!" Like this reminds me when I was like, I think it was first or second grade. I had just won the Young Author Award for the book I wrote called The Big Blue Balloon. It was first grade, so leave it alone.
Hey, I won that award in second grade for something with like a knight.
I also won it in third.
We're awesome.
I also won it in third grade for Santa and his broken arm, and in fourth grade, Big Blue Balloon 2 did not take off. So, but anyway, I told my mom that I won the Young Author Award, and they were going to be reading my book in front of the entire school, which was a giant fucking lie. And my mom got all excited and started bragging to people, and then she just like looked at me and she's like, "Why did you lie about this?" And I'm just like, I don't know, but like I was in first grade.
Yeah.
This kid's fucking 18, and he's lying about getting a full ride college scholarship to play football. Like, fuck this kid, man. Like seriously, that's like 18. You know better. Maybe this guy should have been in the starting five for the 2000 Spaniard Paralympic team, because this is just unbelievable. I mean, I don't even know how you attempt to pull this off.
Can we revisit Ben telling his mom? Because, I mean, like, I knew your mom then, and I know exactly what that look was that she gave me. Like, I could just see her, at that point, even at 6 years old, I'm sure she, like, looked you eye to eye.
I don't remember like who she talked. I don't know if she like called the school or something like that. Somebody told her.
I have to, like, I could see your mom being like, hey, like calling the school and be like, hey, Ben said that they're gonna read his book.
Can I come?
Can I come? Because your mom would have totally been there.
And then they're like, well, ma'am, your 7-year-old little shit's the liar.
God, oh my God, that's so amazing. I love that story with every part of my being. I'm,
And
oh,
that was about reading a book. This kid's talking about saving his family $120,000, and
your story's better,
living
man.
his dream, and
Your story's so much better. I just, oh, that's great. Because you know what's great is like if my kid did that like with the football scholarship, like I'd be like warning bells would go off as a parent. You know what I mean? Like, really?
like we didn't know, and you're
They
really
were
not that
recruiting you
good.
like
Yeah.
you're okay, but I mean I
Like,
watched college football on Saturday, right? Like that. But like I know like your mom bought that thing hook, line, and sinker.
oh yeah,
Like
she did.
your mom was like all over it for sure, and that's it. Like that makes your story better. Whereas like I'm guessing this kid's parents like saw this and they both were like, oh my god,
Oh shit!
oh we're gonna be on the
Shit
news.
storm. He did it again.
Get our PR guy on the get our PR guy on the phone.
they're like, wow, well, no wonder he has a 1.8 grade point average.
Yeah.
Oh my god! All right.
Good stuff. So that's number 9. The kid who lied about signing a scholarship for school that not only didn't offer it, didn't even recruit him.
Oh my god! Love it. Love everything about it. All right, let's go on to number 8.
Real
Number
quick,
8, Ben. Sorry.
my side joke, that's the funniest Kevin Hart has ever been. Boom roasted.
Boom roasted. Number 8, Ben Russo lies to his mother about writing the Big Blue Balloon.
No, I did write the big blue balloon. It just wasn't read in front of the entire school.
Oh my god. Number 8, Raphael Palmieri, as the senator from wherever likes to call him. 2005, he tells Congress he did not do steroids, and then 6 months later, suspended for doing steroids.
Not only did he say it, he pointed that finger.
Yeah, like I'm gonna put on the list of people that give themselves their own nicknames, people with 2 first names, and people that wag their finger in people's faces. Like those are probably the 3 most untrustworthy people you can find in the world. Also, first graders who lie to their mothers. They could maybe go on that list.
They're quickly, going up the ranks.
So
oh my god.
the sneaky best part of the whole Rafael Palmeiro thing. And I tried. I mean, we could have done the whole list of like steroid liars, but there were 2 cases. This obviously being one of them that really stood out, and I think that's why they made it. Is so in court. I remember watching this live. Rafael Palmeiro standing there pointing. Let me start by telling you this: I have never used steroids. Period. I don't know how to say it any more clearly than that. Never. 6 months later, he gets busted. He literally copied and pasted what he told them and just added intentionally. He goes, I have never intentionally used steroids. Never, ever, period. Like, literally, he just...
Don't you hate it when you accidentally take steroids? I hate it.
Then you remember, like, it came out, like, he never said, like, what the substance was, and then, like, it later came out that, like, he was trying to pin it on Miguel Tejada.
Yes.
He was like,
he was injecting him with B12.
Yeah.
Like, that's what Miguel Tejada told him. Is like, oh, no, this is just a B12 shot. And then it was not a B12 shot.
Yeah,
it wasn't even
guess
a shot
what?
at all.
Yeah, and guess what? You should probably know what you're putting in your body and not trust somebody to tell you that.
I mean, listen, Matt and I live together now, and I know Matt, like, his first night here was like, hey, dude, I got this needle full of B12 vitamin for you. Are you interested? And I know I went, why not? Sign me up.
Let's do this.
And I was tripping balls for 3 hours. I was like, hey,
and then
that
you
was
failed
some...
the drug test.
Like, here's the thing. Like, I go out to dinner with my wife, and she goes, here, try this. And I go, well, what is it? Just try it. No, tell me what it is first. Like, that's
our dinner.
This is like, hey, let me inject this in your ass. What is it? Don't worry about it. Just let me shove this needle up your butthole and shoot some shit inside of it.
Well, I don't think it went up their butthole, but
you don't know.
Or like, even if they went like it's B12, like, hey, can I see the bottle of ingredients? Can I maybe
B12,
watch you?
There's no ingredients.
Yeah, but like, can I still see the bottle that shows that it's like, especially with all that kind of stuff going on, you would think. But and real quick, because that's our only baseball guy on the list here. We didn't have Sosa and his corked bat on here. And I know
Yeah,
it's
but
not
did he
that's not
really?
nearly as bad as any of this, but like after like I was thinking about that, I'm like, man, that's a thing that could have gone on this list.
Let's be honest. It was a mistake. It was his batting practice bat. He didn't mean to use it.
Yeah, because they X-rayed all his other bats, right?
I don't know.
I thought
I
they
have no
did.
idea. He's a fucking
Oh.
cheater like the rest of them. Who cares?
You know who else was a good one? I want to say like didn't Albert Bell get caught for corked bats and like Roberto Alomar crawled like they confiscated all of his bats and
I
then
don't think that
Alomar
was
like
him.
crawled through.
No, I don't think it was Albert Bell or Roberto Alomar, but somebody did that. And let's keep in mind, I don't even remember when that was. We tried to keep everything at least like in the 90s and beyond. So like the most famous one is Sid Finch, the made-up baseball player that Sports Illustrated built up. He wore one shoe and all that other crap. So like that didn't qualify for our list, but that's probably the all-time leader at this point. So, but yeah, the Palmeiro one is just great because there was literally a 6-month difference between that that Congress hearing and him getting suspended. I mean, what a dickhead! Seriously.
Yeah. So this is a miss here for us. We probably should have had this on the list. So White Sox manager Gene Lamont was tipped off that the Indians batter Albert Bell was using a corked bat. So under the rules of Major League Baseball, a manager may challenge one opponent's baseball bat per game. Lamont challenged Bell's bat with umpire Dave Phillips, who confiscated the bat and locked it in the umpire's dressing room. The Indians, knowing that the bat was indeed corked, dispatched relief pitcher Jason Grimsley to retrieve the bat. Grimsley took a bat belonging to Indians player Paul Sorrento and accessed the area above the false ceiling in the clubhouse and crawled across with a flashlight in his mouth until he reached the umpire's room. He switched Bell's bat with Sorrento's and returned to the clubhouse. During the 6th inning, the umpire's custodian noticed clumps of ceiling tile on the floor of the umpire's room, plus twisted metal brackets in the ceiling. After the game, Phillips noticed the bats were different, and he saw that the replacement bat was not as shiny and also stamped with Sorrento's signature. The Chicago police were called, and the White Sox threatened charges against the burglar. An investigation that Saturday was carried out by a former FBI agent flown in by MLB. The equipment room was dusted for fingerprints, and the path the burglar took was discovered. So there you go.
Good one.
That's pretty bad. And that was 1994, so that's within the scope here.
All right, honorable mention.
Honorable mention. Love it. All right, let's go to number 7. Tim Johnson, 98 Blue Jays manager, lies about serving in Vietnam and UCLA. And then it says basketball scholarship. He had a UCLA basketball scholarship. Is that what you're telling me, Ben?
He lied about that as well.
Yeah,
he said he had. So.
Do you ever look at that story? And that's like 1998, right?
Yeah.
So like we're right at that cusp of like when a lot of information is available and easily accessible. Do you wonder like if we went back in time, like how many guys like got coaching jobs based on absolutely phony credentials and stuff like that? And that number's probably fairly high, right?
Well, there's one a little further up this list that takes the cake on that one too. But yeah, it is, because think about how little things were really able to be fact checked. I mean, you could have. I mean, I'm sure you could have called, I don't even know, some sort of government facility to see if Tim Johnson served in Vietnam. But why would you think he'd lie about it too? And I guess now, because that information is at your fingertips, you're more likely to fact check. So, I mean, that's terrible for anybody to make that lie.
So
lie about serving your country.
I've got another story about somebody lying about serving their country.
Yeah, please, let's hear it.
And you have to know the guy. So, when I was in college, I worked at the school district doing the summer maintenance, right?
Yes.
And there was a custodian at one of the schools. I'm not going to say names, but during the school year, they were doing stuff they were covering the Vietnam War, and the custodian was always, and I know he was in the service. He just never served. Just like Tim Johnson, he was actually in the military. He was a Marine, but he never served in Vietnam. But he was talking about how he was sent overseas. He served in the Vietnam War. He went overseas with his best friend, who never returned. His best friend died in Vietnam. And the story he told them was that him and his friend ripped a dollar bill in half, and they each held onto a half, so when they returned, they would reunite with the dollar. The teacher asked him, "Hey, can you bring that dollar in for, this training course or whatever the hell they were doing with it, show and tell, I don't know."
I know where this is going.
So he brings in the dollar bill that's ripped in half, and it was the 1995 series dollar bill. And his wife confirmed, who was a bus driver for the school, confirmed, yeah, he never served in Vietnam. He was in the Army, but was never deployed. Just a great story. I mean, you bring in a 1995 series dollar bill.
I mean, you at least got to be smarter than that. If you're going to lie, I mean, if you're stupid enough to lie, then I guess you're stupid enough to bring a 1995.
He also lied. Oh, God, this is the same guy. Shit. So, do you remember? I don't remember the U.S. ship that was bombed by the pirates or whatever, like blew a big hole in the side of it. A bunch of people died. It was like a naval ship. Do we remember that? Blew a big hole in the side of it.
Was that the USS Cole? Is that the one?
Maybe, yeah. It's something like, yeah. He also lied and said that his son-in-law died on the ship. And the district put together a big donation thing for him. And before it got too deep, again, the wife came forward and said, yeah, he didn't die. He's not even in the Army.
Oh, God. Jesus Christ.
Oh, I love it. God, this is tremendous. You know what, though? It's like George Costanza always says. It's not a lie.
Not a lie if you believe it.
I think what we're learning out of this, especially like a Major League Baseball manager and, this 18-year-old kid, like, you can't lie about this. Like, I could lie to somebody and be like, yeah, I played college football and blew out my knee. Like, nobody would research that. But like this, you're a manager of a Major League Baseball. There's literally this is 1998, so there's 30 Major League managers. You don't think that like somebody's gonna find out that you were lying, that you served in Vietnam, and you told all these war stories? Like this kid again.
Like you gotta know it's gonna come back to you at some point.
That's my point. It's like, how fucking dumb are you that like I'm gonna tell all these people I served in Vietnam and nobody's gonna find out.
Yeah,
I mean, just like this kid getting his scholarship. Like, how far could this story actually go?
You knew it was gonna end at some point.
Like his parents bring him to the dorm for like moving day, and he's like, "No, you don't even drop me here at the curb. Just drop me at the curb, okay?"
And like the weirdest thing is, we've seen no paperwork or nothing. Did you go to orientation? Shut up, Mom.
By the way, Addison Russell just hit his 4th home run in 3 games, so
My word.
good for him. All right. Yeah. After these first 5 that we've done here, or first 4, I think this is too high. Ryan Lochte.
See, I agree that it definitely wasn't like a top 5 thing. I do like where it's at, just because of the controversy around it all. Because now, did you hear the new report? I'm glad we actually waited an extra day to do this, because now they're reporting that the police also fudged their reporting a little bit and made it seem way worse than what actually happened. I guess it like wasn't anywhere near. So like basically both sides essentially lied about what happened. And it's just the whole situation. Like, we had all these questions with Rio coming in. Like, you've already had reported robberies, and now got to be one of the most disappointing Olympic athletes, I would think, Ryan Lochte, right?
No, I mean he actually would be. He's one of the most decorated ever. It's just. He came around.
He was
but
bad.
4 years ago in London, he was projected to win a bunch of golds, and he kind of shit his pants a little bit, didn't he?
I'll look it up real quick.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with him was he was always in Phelps' shadow.
Plus, he's an idiot.
Well, that And like he's 32, I think. I think he's 32 years old. He's 32 years old and he's hanging out with these younger 20-year-old swimmers, which is fine. You can hang out with whoever you want to hang out with, but doesn't it seem like it's one of those like, hey, you think I'm an old man? I can still hang. And then they get rip-roaring hammered. They rip shit off the wall. Like, I don't care where you are. You don't have that entitlement to go mess up somebody else's, business and whether or not it's a bathroom or wherever. I mean, you don't have that right to do that. Like, he's childish. And then the more I've like looked up about him and like the brief clips I've seen of his stupid reality show, my God, does he seem dumb? Just like full on dumb.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. Is like I don't know that we're ever gonna know what happened. We obviously know that he exaggerated, but now, like I said, the reports are that so did the police. So something happened. We obviously have the video footage of somebody pointing a gun at him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and at the end of the day, Rio got the one swimmer to pay $11,000. So, I mean, it's kind of a robbery.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
So Lochte at the '08 Olympics, 2 golds, 2 bronze. At the 2012 London, 2 gold, 2 silver, and a bronze. And this year at Rio, he had the 1 gold.
I think he has like top 10 most gold medals in U.S. history.
Yeah, he's got 5.
I vaguely remember before the 2012 Olympics, like everybody saying like, oh, he's gonna win all these golds, he's gonna do all this great stuff, and he didn't. But maybe I'm wrong.
It doesn't matter.
Like I said, I think this is a good spot for it just because the extent of it, what was going on with Rio, and the fact that this is overshadowing a lot of success, that the U.S. had in the Olympics. I mean, would they finish with 121 medals? They had the most golds, the most silvers, the most bronzes.
The most medals ever not on U.S. soil.
And like, this is going to be one of the bigger things that we remember from the Olympics is some idiot, doing something stupid that he shouldn't have been doing. And you got to wonder what that's going to change, if that changes anything, at future Olympics as far as like what they're allowed to do, where they're allowed to go, stuff like that. So, who knows?
Yeah. Ryan Lochte, you're an idiot. Five's good. 5's a great one.
5, I thought 5 I wanted to be higher, but I think the 4 ahead of it are really solid.
Danny Almonte pretending to be 12 and he was really like,
I think it was 14.
Whatever. It was, and you looked at him and you're like, that's a man among boys there, and it kind of
it's just a growth spurt.
Yeah.
By 3 or 4 years.
No kidding. That was fun.
That was a really like interesting like aftermath because wasn't he eventually like in the minors for somebody?
He might.
Or was he only like independent league?
I think he made it to like college and then like independent league. Yeah, he played at a community college.
Well, he's fat now too. That's great.
Yeah, he's a big boy now. He played for the Southern Illinois Miners in the Frontier League.
Maybe that's
He played for the Southern Illinois Miners of the Frontier League.
I literally just said that.
You know what?
Sorry.
He may have played with a guy I went to high school with there. I gotta look at the years because there was a kid from Streator who, after his dad, like he played baseball, at Southern Illinois, Edwardsville. Then his dad passed away, so he moved back home, gave up baseball, and then one day he decided he was going to try it again. So he played for the Southern Illinois Miners. His contract was purchased by the Diamondbacks, and then he had like a 30-game like scoreless streak for the Diamondbacks. He was known for his Raleigh Fingers mustache, and then he sort of. I think he ended up having Tommy John and then never came back. So
this is your friend?
Not a friend. He was just somebody I went to high school with. He's older than me by 3 years. Actually, he might even be older than that. So he's like a friend of a friend sort of thing. But it was pretty cool to see him in there.
So yeah, he was 14 at the time. Say he was 12. They started the investigation. I think his dad even lied at one point. Yeah, his dad registered at April 7th, 1987, which would have made him 14. But his dad, I think, was very adamant, saying that he was 12 years old too. So
Do you think he believed he was 12?
no, but I also think the parents probably made him think that what he was doing was okay. Usually with this kid shit, I don't necessarily blame the kids at all in most of these. Like, this kind of goes back to, like, the whole thing with... I mean, shit, we probably should have talked about that one. The Chicago Little League team, Jackie Robinson West, breaking the boundaries to put together a competitive team, and, I think they ended up losing, but... you can't blame the kids for that kind of stuff, for the adults and the parents being the assholes and all this. But yeah, I mean, the Danny Almonte one, I remember watching this when I was a kid, because I would have been, 15 when this happened? What was this, 2001? Yeah. So I'd have been 16. Probably, I remember watching these games, and every time he pitched, because wasn't he striking out like 18, 19 kids a game, something like that?
Yeah, it was like ridiculous. Yeah, his fastball was like crazy good.
Yeah, so I mean, I remember watching these things, and then like when that came out, I'm like, holy shit! Like, so yeah, I'll always remember this one just from our childhood specifically. So,
all right, George O'Leary, hired by Notre Dame, and 5 days later, like, you lied. Matt, you want to take the lead on this one? I feel like this is what you're familiar with.
Yeah, this one was interesting, to say the least, because I actually liked the guy, and like I thought it was a pretty decent hire, and actually he's turned into having a pretty solid career at Central Florida.
He's still there?
Or no, he's not. Sorry, last year was his last year there, but he had a pretty good run. They were really bad last year, though, I think, but but yeah, so he left Georgia Tech to take over at Notre Dame. And then after he was hired, he pretty much fubbed a bunch of stuff about himself. What was it? He said he had a master's degree from NYU Stony Brook University, a non-existent institution named after two separate schools over 50 miles apart. Said he had only taken 2 courses at Stony Brook and never graduated. And then after that came up, they forced him to resign, which I would... part of that is, obviously he never should have lied about that, but you would also think that they would sort of dive into that a little bit more. But then again, I mean, he had a somewhat respectable career at Georgia Tech too.
I believe the other lie too was, didn't he say he earned 3 letters in football at University of New Hampshire?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that he earned any, or that I know that was one of the lies.
Yeah, it said the school claimed he had not even played in 1 game.
Yeah, so. Yeah, I mean, he ended up, so then he went to the Vikings.
Well, and then the thing was, because the first thing that came out was that he didn't letter, and he offered to resign. And then it says Notre Dame's AD, Kevin White, told him not to. And then the stuff about the NYU Stony Brook University.
Yeah, because then he asked if there were any other inaccuracies. Mm-hmm. And then he goes, yeah, I didn't earn that master's degree either.
Yeah.
And the school was made up.
God, could you imagine being that guy, being that Kevin White, the AD, being like, Jesus Christ, I am a moron.
But then, then he goes to Minnesota. He's a defensive line coach for Mike Tice, and then eventually defensive coordinator. And then he went to UCF and coached there for 11 years.
So hey, it all kind of worked out for him.
Everything ended up George O'Leary.
No kidding.
The summer of George.
All right, number 3. This one's real fun. Manti Te'o gets catfished by Lene Kua. And I don't even care if I'm saying that wrong. Lene was not real Manti.
What a thing, man. How crazy did that get?
That was a crazy story, because, I mean, just before, like...
It was right before the national championship game.
Yeah, but I mean, just before that, I remember talking with you guys how I thought Manti Te'o should have been the number 1 overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, like you have to take this guy. Like, this guy is, he's built to compete. He's a great player. And then he ends up sliding to the 2nd round. I don't know how much of it had to do with that, or that he was exposed in the national game.
He was the runner-up to the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah. And this story just
killed him.
Yeah,
It really did, and I wonder how much of his demise as like a draft pick.
that's what I was saying. I'm like, because we also remember like how bad that national championship game was. I mean, Notre Dame got trounced. He looked bad. You know, how much of it was them saying that he was exposed for what he is, or how much was it like, can we really trust this guy?
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a weird story because like he had, I don't remember all the details, but I vaguely remember like this thing was like going on for like over a year, right? And he had lied about actually seeing and meeting and talking with her. Because I think he said he saw her at a Stanford game or something like that.
Yeah.
So, god damn, like that. This story's just messed up. I mean, that's when this whole like catfishing thing got popular.
Huge. Yeah.
And they got that stupid TV show. But
I sadly watch that every once in a while.
Oh, Matthew.
I watched the movie.
Yeah, that's actually kind of interesting. The
Like the
documentary.
extent
or
people
whatever.
go, yeah, to do that kind of stuff. But it's crazy to me. Like, just like you said, I mean, this was a guy run up to the Heisman, won the, I mean, tons of awards. I mean, look at, in 2012 alone, he won the Lott Trophy, the Maxwell Award, Chuck Bednarik Award, Walter Camp Award, Bronco Nagurski Trophy, Butkus Award, Lombardi Award, Senior Class Award, Heisman Trophy runner-up, unanimous All-American, first-team academic All-American, FBS Independent Defensive Player of the Year 2011 and 2012.
Yeah, but he got catfished, so.
But he got catfished by some Hawaiian dude.
Yeah, Renaya Tuiasosopo.
Oh.
Was he
Any
related
relation?
to the That's what I was just gonna say.
To the 45 Tuiasosopos that played football at Washington?
Yeah, and the one that like Marcus, I think it was Marcus Tuiasosopo, that hung around in the NFL for like 5 years without ever
One of them,
doing.
I think, is playing baseball.
Yeah, I think so. That sounds right. I don't know. They're like the amazing Tuiasosopos. Because what didn't it come out that kid, like, it was because he loved, like, he secretly loved Manti Te'o or something? I don't know.
Yeah, he was gay and he was in love with Manti Te'o.
I love it. I just love everything about it. All right, number 2 is the one that really it's interesting to this list because it is the one that really could have just destroyed a sport.
Mm-hmm.
Like the NBA is super, super lucky that their sport was just not absolutely destroyed by Tim Donaghy and his whatever he said about, you know, gambling on basketball and how all the refs do it and how he was in deep with a bookie, and I mean it was not good. And I remember looking back at, he called out that Kings Laker game from 2003, I think it was, or 2002, that went to like Game 7.
The Western Conference Finals, right?
Yeah, the one where like it was Game 6 actually. I want to say like the Lakers shot like 45 free throws and the Kings shot 10.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, that game was totally called in by like David Stern and stuff. That was a fun one. That it was fun, and it could have really destroyed basketball. And basketball is really, really lucky that it didn't do it. Matt, you got comments on this?
Like, this was one that really slipped my mind until Ben had mentioned it, and it is amazing that it didn't take a bigger, that the NBA didn't take a bigger hit over this.
David Stern was a master at that stuff, though.
He did. David Stern was really good at avoiding controversy. You know, like he sidestepped stuff all the time. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
Good effort by him.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, I don't know enough. I honestly remember this happening and then just kind of brushing it off for whatever reason. I don't know. I guess there was that level of like indifference for me because I felt like, I don't know, the Bulls were bad at the time, so I had very little. You know, I didn't have a huge. I don't know. I didn't feel slighted by it when, even though I my whole life I've probably been more of an NBA fan than anything else. I mean, the NFL's taken over my life the last like 10 years, but I mean, it was all basketball for me for a long time.
Well, and I think there's something in the fact, like, some of the stuff he said, it was like, well, yeah, we've always all kind of assumed that the NBA kind of rigs some games and that the referees are, influenced far too much by stars and, maybe David Stern, make sure to call out, like, hey, really watch what this team is doing tonight. And it's like, well, so I don't know, like, that I was necessarily super surprised. I think the thing that surprised me the most was that this ultimately didn't kill the NBA. Ben, comments on Tim Donaghy?
Yeah, I think. I'm sorry, I stepped away. So if I'm talking about stuff you already covered, but I mean, this goes back to one of our lists earlier when we talked about the best teams that never won. It was that Sacramento Kings team that got robbed in the Tim Donaghy game. When there's that train. When they lost to the Lakers, that was a game that Tim Donaghy was involved in that, we can always go back and say what could have been. I mean, the Lakers ended up going on and beating the Sixers 4-0, that terrible Sixers team. So that could have been a championship that the Kings won. So
no, it wasn't the Sixers year. It was a different year.
Was it the Nets?
It was the Nets because the Sixers was the year that they only lost one playoff game.
So they it was the Nets, that really awful Nets team. That Sacramento would have rolled in 4 games too. So I mean, it's a championship. Who knows what happens with that franchise with the championship? And I mean, we know somewhat as far as like the betting scandal and stuff like that, but we'll never know what truly happened. How long it was going on for. I mean, he was a referee from 1994 to 2007, so that's 13 years. Are we really going to believe that this only happened on from half of one season and carried into the next season? I don't know that I necessarily buy that. I see your point where you say you just kind of feel robbed. You feel like what could have happened, in all these years without this involvement, and do we know, was he the only referee involved and stuff like that? So I think there's still a lot of questions and stuff we'll never actually know. And the NBA, to their credit, I think I heard Matt kind of talking about it where they sidestep the questions. They've done a really good job of just burying this. It's not really talked about much anymore. We all remember it, but we all just kind of go, oh, let's move on in the NBA. Look, we have LeBron James and Kevin Durant and all this other stuff. So,
well, I feel like if we ever said anything that like made people think about it again, if people actually listen to this, I'm pretty sure we get a letter from David Stern saying, "You sure you want to talk about that?"
Yeah, maybe we should leave this alone.
Hey, maybe don't talk about this, okay? Maybe just look the other way on this one, and we all go, "Yep, sure, David, you got it." So there you go. And then let's get to number 1 on the list, and it is I love this one, Lance Armstrong. He is king douchebag, correct?
Yes, in every way. By the way, that train really freaking loud. I mean, when that thing came by, good thing I had that mute button. But yeah, Lance Armstrong, piece of shit.
I think my favorite thing was when libraries across the country started putting his autobiography in the fiction section. That was really funny. Like, oh, well, this could just go straight to the fiction section. It was disappointing too. Like that, I think that's the worst of the whole Lance Armstrong thing was he provided so much hope for people, and he provided.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not just the steroid use; it's this Live Strong bull crap that he pulled.
Everything about it.
Wasn't like 94%, like less than like 4 or 5% actually went to a charity, I think.
Yeah.
It was like and it might even been worse than that. I honestly don't remember the actual number, but like, I mean, the reason like I said, I mentioned earlier where I didn't want to just do a bunch of steroid people because that was the easy way out, but I mean, this guy built an empire. I mean, a freaking empire, and it was torn down. I mean, there's like all these stories of him like suing people for defamation, and people are filing bankruptcy, and he's winning these millions of dollars worth of cases, and all these people are going broke for it, to find out that they were telling the truth, and he doesn't have to go back and pay these people. Like, it's the extent that he took it to and just kind of carried it on until it came out, and then it comes back, and lo and behold, he's gone. Like we don't see or hear from him ever again.
Well, and is it the thing with like Livestrong that only like 5% goes to charity or something to that effect? Like it's an obscenely low amount of money. Like most of it was pocketed.
Yeah, I just said that.
Yep, you sure did.
Sorry.
Pull the stop there.
I said, yeah, like 4 or 5% I think went, and I don't have the number in front of me, but I remember when that came out, that it was just it was brutal, and this was all, you remember those damn yellow bracelets?
Yeah,
I mean, everybody.
I found one the other day when I was like cleaning stuff out.
And then they like got rid of him, and or got rid of God, what the hell? I forgot his name already. Lance Armstrong. And it's just all this crap came out, and I mean, it was nothing. This guy was just pocketing millions and millions of dollars, taking people down with him, and it was all a lie. It was
the
just
longest of the long cons.
Yeah. And what
He's
did
a
he win?
garbage
6?
human being.
Was it 6 Tour de France's that he won?
I thought it was 7.
I don't remember the number, but just God, I just don't understand. Like these are those people you go, how could he do this? Like how could I don't understand as a human being how you can just continually take people down. Like, if you did it, fine, don't admit it, but don't start suing people and all kinds of stuff. And yeah, just what a piece of shit he is.
They only credit him with 2 Tour de France's, but those were like pre. He
Cancer.
won 7. It says he won 7 consecutive times from 1999 to 2005, but was stripped of his Tour de France victory. So maybe I don't know if these 2 wins I'm looking at, but that's. Oh, those are just 2 individual stages. All right, so never mind. But yeah, he won 7 straight. Which, I mean, let's be honest. Before Lance Armstrong, had you ever heard of the Tour de France?
No.
Me either.
No.
So apparently there's a movie about this. I can't think. I can see if I can find it real quick. That apparently is pretty good. Oh, it's called The Program, not to be confused with the incredibly underrated football movie The Program, which I suggest you watch sometime. But
then he also got like his teammates to do it.
Mm-hmm.
He did the interview where he said he admitted to using it in 2005, but wasn't doing it in 2009, 2010 when he won.
Mm-hmm.
But then also said he wouldn't testify unless he got complete amnesty, which they said wasn't going to happen. They released the report. All his sponsors dropped him in one day. The rumor is that he lost at least $75 million in one day with his sponsors dropping him.
Mm-hmm.
Nike got rid of him. Just, I'm trying to find the article that I read about him, suing somebody for defamation and winning like $13 or $14 million, and this person had to sell their business, and then obviously it came out that it was true. So
yeah, he's a person that solely looks out for himself and will do anything to better himself at the the demise of others. And it's just like a guy like he's just pure trash. There's no better way to describe him. He's garbage, and he is more than deserving of being the number 1 on this list.
All right. Well, I think that's a great way to sum it up. So the list was number 10, the Spanish Paralympic team in 2009, Kevin Hart, the high school football recruit who wasn't recruited. 8, Rafael Palmeiro. 7, Tim Johnson, the Blue Jays manager, lied about serving in Vietnam. 6, Ryan Lochte at the 16 Rio Olympics. Danny Almonte at the 2001 Little League World Series is 5. George O'Leary and his 5 days at Notre Dame is 4. Manti Te'o getting catfished is 3. Tim Donaghy, point shaving and bookies and the whole works in the NBA is 2. And Lance Armstrong, professional piece of shit, number 1. Good list, guys. We haven't done a list in a while, but this was a good one.
Yeah, It's been a long time since we've done a list. I don't even remember what would have been the last one we did.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that we'll do some football list here soon. It's just kind of hard to.
Well,
You know,
next week we can do a. We got college football will be starting not this weekend, but next weekend.
Yeah.
And then you got NFL the week after.
Yeah, so we're right there. We are on the precipice of
Football.
football fun. I will say, I there was a commercial on ESPN today of like the first week's games, and there are some good freaking
There are
games.
some really good games.
Yeah, like let's see,
Alabama, Wisconsin. Well,
Oklahoma, Houston, in Houston will be
uh,
great.
Florida State, Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Who
UCLA,
else?
Texas A&M will be good.
Yeah.
LSU, Wisconsin will be good.
I
Georgia,
think
North Carolina.
I think I found what I was looking for.
Okay.
I don't have the exact details, but essentially what it was, somebody named Mike Anderson in March 31st, 2005. This gentleman by the name of Mike Anderson filed a brief in Travis County District Court in Texas as part of a legal battle following his termination in November 2004 as an employee of Armstrong. So Armstrong fired him because it's believed that Mike Anderson knew that he was doping. Mike Anderson later stated that he had found androstenone, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct, in Armstrong's apartment. That actually is not on the banned substance list. Anderson stated in a subsequent deposition that he had no direct knowledge of Armstrong using a banned substance. Armstrong denied the claim and issued a countersuit. The two men reached an out-of-court settlement, so Anderson ended up having to pay Armstrong in November 2005. Obviously, 7 years later, he is found to have used it, and right around that time frame of 2005 when this Anderson guy called him out, and they tried to recoup some of the settlement, but were unable to. So this guy lost his job, had to pay him a shit ton of money for the countersuit, and lo and behold, he was correct the entire time.
So there you go. Really quick, I was kind of looking ahead, like, oh man, wonder what games there are this season that are kind of primo. Oklahoma has an ungodly schedule in the first 4 weeks. Home, or it's a neutral site game at NRG Stadium in Houston against Houston. Then home against the University of Louisiana Monroe. Then home against Ohio State, and then at TCU.
Jeez.
So number 15, 6,
I was trying to get it in.
My goodness. That's got to be the hardest first 4 games I think I've ever seen. I mean, that's.
Did you see the Hurricanes? Miami's is here.
Is it looking pretty rough?
Home against Florida A&M.
Okay.
Home against Florida Atlantic.
Oh.
At Appalachian State.
Oh, they're going on the road?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then
That actually is pretty surprising.
But then they follow up with Florida State, North Carolina, Virginia Tech, Notre Dame. So I understand them padding that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you do what you got to do, but that Oklahoma slate to start the year, that looks absolutely.
That's a little surprising that they're going to Appalachian State, isn't it?
That is surprising.
What week is that? Week 4?
3.
Week 3.
Like, that's really weird that they would go there.
I can't.
Like they must have made like they must be getting paid like a shitload of money to do that.
Is Appalachian State in the top tier now or no?
I thought they moved up, didn't they?
Yeah, they're in the Sun Belt. So I guess
okay.
it's not that. I mean, they're.
Yeah, but still, that's like the equivalent of them coming to NIU.
Which NIU doesn't get those games.
No, NIU doesn't. No. NIU only gets those games if they'll play them at like Soldier Field.
I think even I actually looked at that before coming on here. And NIU is hosting like their next like big hosting game at Husky Stadium is like BYU in 2019. Or something.
But hey, they're gonna slide into the Big 12. So
I'll tell you what, the NIU schedule is prime for a running of the table.
Of course.
They have Rod Carey though. It's not gonna happen.
Right. At Wyoming, at South Florida, home for San Diego State, home for Western, at Ball State, at Western Michigan, home for Central Michigan, home for Buffalo, home for Bowling Green, home for Toledo. 4 straight home games in the MAC this year.
But that Toledo game's at U.S. Cellular.
Oh, is that right?
We should go. Outing.
It's a Wednesday, I think, isn't it?
It
I was
is.
just gonna say, yeah, it's like a middle. Their like last 4 games are all midweek games.
But that's the MAC. They like their MAC
That's MAC,
at night.
yeah. That's okay. I like having them to watch in the middle of the week. I like MAC football.
Yeah, you'll get me out to DeKalb for an NIU game before you get me to U.S. Cellular Field on like a Wednesday in November.
I'd probably go to it if I had a babysitter.
I'd
I
go,
don't
but
know.
Scott would
That-
probably
that's-
steal my mark.
I'm
You
just
know
telling
what?
you, don't sleep on the Hurricanes, boys.
Is that your hot take? Is that the
They're
hottest
back.
of takes? Is that what
They're
you're
back, baby. Brad Kaya. They got Mark Richt running the show now.
Tennessee hopes to be back this year too.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. They play in the SEC.
Yeah, they're number 9. Although, do they get like a favorable schedule? Oh man, here's their opening of the SEC: home for Florida, at Georgia, at A&M, home for Alabama, at South Carolina. So that's 5 weeks in a row right there.
Well, at least they're home for Bama. All right, we should
Yeah,
probably
I mean-
cover this next week.
Yeah, we will. We'll do some college football next week because it's that time of year. So, anyways, any final thoughts on the cheaters and losers and haters?
They all suck.
They all
I-
suck.
I just don't know how you lie and cheat in this day and age. You're gonna get caught.
You are going to get caught. All right, well, don't get caught, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Scott Sterno, Ben Russo, Matt Urich. They were here. It was awesome. We're on Google Play. We're on Stitcher. We're in the iTunes store. Check us out. Have a great rest of your week.